Welcome in to Tiny Musings with T. I am T from Tiny Divinations, here with your July collective reading. In this episode, which is part one, we will go over the charms we have for this month. We'll go over the cards we have for the energy of this month, and we'll see how far we can get into our mini focuses. If we don't get into our mini focuses, we have part two, where we go over our career and finance mini focus, our love and relationship mini focus, and our self growth and spirituality mini focus. We also talk about our fairy tale for the month that's related to the cards we have in this episode for the energy. We'll go over the best working for the month and whatever else comes up. So sit back, get comfortable, and let's get into July. Welcome into our July collective reading. Thank you so much for being here with me. Once again, I am T from Tiny Divinations, here to break down the cards with you. We'll get into our charms and some of the things that may happen this month. We'll get into the cards we have for the energy of the month, and we'll see how far we go through and see if we can get into some mini focuses. If not, come back for part two. We will talk about all of our mini focuses, our career and finances for the month, our love and relationships, and our self growth and spirituality. We'll talk about the fairy tale that relates most to our month based on the cards we had in this episode in the energy section. We'll get into any workings that may be good for the month. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That comes into part two. So sit, get comfortable. We're going to get into some things. Before we get into that, I just want to give y'all a few announcements. Number one, I am having a summer sale. My live 75-minute reading is on sale right now, 40% off. You can book with me on wildheartbotanica.com. The link is in the show notes. You can book a live reading, or I have other options. And when you click the booking, when you go to your cart, you'll see the savings in the cart. For some reason, I can't put it on the front end of it, but you will see the savings on the back end. So book with me if you'd like your own reading. Also, we are currently in Mercury retrograde season. Retrograde started on June 29th. Mercury will be retrograde until July 23rd. So I did a pick a pile. You can watch that on YouTube. If you're not already following me on YouTube, definitely follow me there. I also do weekly readings. So follow me, Tiny Divinations, on YouTube. Okay. Other than that, we have a tiny shuffled playlist. All of the songs that play while I do the reading are basically shufflemancy. I take a whole bunch of different playlists, I press shuffle, and so whatever plays in the background is added to a playlist on Spotify and on Apple Music because it colors the energy of the month. It gives me insight with certain lyrics as I read, things like that. So definitely go check out the playlist. You can use it for whatever you want throughout the month. You can listen to the songs to understand the energy of the month. You can use it to find new music. You can use it to do shufflemancy yourself and ask a question and shuffle and get, a message within the song or the energy of the song or the title of the song, however you choose to use it. It's available for you. So before we get into our cards, what I do every episode is want to hear how you're doing. So I get quiet. You talk to me like I'm in front of you. You tell me what's going on, how you're feeling, whatever you want to talk about. I ad lib a little bit and we go from there. So I'll be quiet and you let me know how you're feeling. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So, per usual, if I did not give you enough time to tell me what's going on, pause me now. Finish talking. What I was feeling as I was feeling into it, my chest kind of felt tight. I feel like angsty or like kind of anxious. Um, I feel kind of like I'm waiting to exhale in a way. Like I need to breathe. Like people need to kind of breathe and let their shoulders down a little bit. So yeah, it's interesting. Even my voice is a little bit more raspy. So yeah, let's just breathe. We all gonna breathe together real quick. We're gonna in one, two, three. You're gonna hold that for one, two, three. And we're gonna release for three. Okay. Y'all ain't know I was a yoga teacher too. I am. And certified meditation instructor. Okay, baby. I do it all. Okay. I hope you feel better. I hope you feel a little bit better. Okay. Let's get into these charms. So, before we get into our charms for the month, I want to talk about the first song that we have on our Tiny Shuffled playlist. The first song we have is called All I Do Is Try My Best by Glaive, I think. Glavi, Glaive, Glaive. And the energy of the song the energy of the song was given like I hate adulting. Like that's what it felt like. Like I hate adulting. It felt like everything is due. It feels like things are on top of you. It feels like people live in like endless cycles in certain aspects of their life. um it felt like I just got my check and I gotta give it all away. It felt like things are kind of like never ending. It just gave this very specific energy, right? It's like, is this all adulting is kind of what it made me feel. Or having to make like too many grown up decisions and just feeling kind of like overwhelmed with that. And the next song that played was Drake, What Did I Miss? And both of the songs had this energy of just like, woe is me, I'm the victim. Everything happens to me. People are doing things to me. Wah! Like that's just kind of how the first two songs felt. And I thought that that was interesting. So I wanted to point that out. Again, you can listen to the songs on the playlist on Apple Music or on Spotify. Um, the links are in the show notes. So, getting into our charms. The charms that we have for the month are a skeleton key, a pink moon, the number 5 on the die. We have the chariot charm reverse. We have a dolphin. We have a shark's tooth. And we have the other mother from Coraline. So, my first thoughts with the charms that we have are that us getting the pink moon makes a lot of sense. And this month, we are in Cancer season in the first half of this month. Cancer is ruled by the moon, so it made sense to me for us to get the moon. It also made sense to me because, like I mentioned, Mercury is retrograde most of this month. And that with the skeleton key and the moon all kind of validated for me that we're definitely going to be unlocking some feelings and some emotions this month. Some of them may be a little bit heavy. And there also may be things that come up as like messages in our dreams, or we may have like insight, enhanced psychic senses, or like anything around your intuition or your psychicness, or things that are kind of related to the moon, your unconscious, emotions, things like that. The dolphin charm actually fell off of the lid before closing. It wasn't in my hand when I picked the charms out. And it made me think that we don't need to forget this month to add in play or fun, to make sure you spend time with friends or people that you really like. Make sure that if you're asked to do something and you have the capacity and the ability, you say yes. It also spoke to me, the dolphin charm and the moon charm with the shark's tooth was all kind of water related, especially specifically ocean. So we may be by the water more this month. We may be in the water more this month. We may be planning trips to the water this month. So all of that was coming in those three charms together. The dolphin also made me think of kind of beating to your own drum. If you know anything about dolphins, they're definitely like different. So that comes into play this month. Dolphins can also sometimes be seen as aggressive by other fish. They can be stubborn, they can be dominant, they can be feisty. So these are things that may come up in our month, whether with ourselves or with the people around us. Dolphins are also super eager to like explore. They're super curious. They're willing to try things. So again, with like that playful energy, this is part of what I feel like is being asked of us, or we may be feeling, or we may want to lean into this month. The 5 on the die, 5 is a number of transformation. It's a number of change. 5 usually means that whatever is happening is out of your control. So it could also be like a disruption. 5 is a number of adventure and movement and pushing yourself and allowing yourself to be flexible with whatever is happening around you, whatever transformation is happening, whatever change or disruption may be happening at the time, being flexible, and like becoming almost like a master of change or a master of adaptation or flexibility. 5 is about directing your thoughts and energy towards what's happening, and like whether this change is something that you prompted or not, being able to, like I said, adapt and be almost grateful for wherever you are, and knowing that that's taking you, somewhere where you need to be, kind of being like open and willing, just like you would be with something that looks seemingly good. On the other side, 5 can bring anxiety. It can make you easily distracted. It can make you like antsy for change. It can have you bored with your daily routine or things that seem mundane or just boring to you in general. Like I said, you can get easily distracted or bored, especially with things that you're not interested in. It's like if I don't have interest in it, your brain just might like whoop, out of there. You know what I mean? And you might also feel a lack of direction during this month because of the 5, or an unsurety of like um, what to do, or how to go about making a decision. With that in mind, we move to the Chariot reverse. So the charm, the Chariot in reverse, to me speaks to a lack of confidence, a lack of willpower in moving forward or moving towards your goals or moving on a plan. Um, there's an energy of aligning you with your higher self or not aligning with the thoughts or the wants of our higher selves. Um, it may be that people feel off track with their goals or their plans. It could be people who are sitting with their desire to build their confidence or their willpower or their belief in themselves. Um, and because we're also in a retrograde, it could look like people going back to plans that you put down or going back to something that you thought might not work. It could be going back to like goals that you had wanted to do, but you stopped working on, or some kind of skill that you wanted to work on that you stopped using. All of these things within alignment of, like I said, your goals, your plans, things that are like making you better, things that are connecting you with the highest parts of yourself. Moving on to the pink moon. Like I mentioned earlier, the pink moon feels like softness. It feels like emotions. It gives a more tender, soft energy to July. And vice versa for others around us. There may be like a more tender, soft energy that they're embodying, that we're embodying and giving to others. It feels like we may be moving from more of an emotional place as opposed to like logical places. Not that that's good or bad, it just seems to be what it may be for this month. Um, it may be more than usual for some people. You may be literally more emotional than usual. You may cry more. You may cry at things that don't normally make you cry. It's just giving kind of a tender energy, more sentimental energy, more lovey energy in a way. At the time when I was writing about this charm, the song that was playing in the background is or was Vacation by Flores, which is on our Tiny Shuffle playlist. And the lyrics that were playing at that time were maybe I want to get married or maybe I just want to fall asleep. And it's like it's hard to decipher what the root is of the feelings or like the feeling of things being kind of Neptunian. It's like um, kind of dreamy in a sense, kind of emotional, kind of outer body, kind of cloudy in some cases. So that's all the energy that I'm getting with the moon charm. The next charm that we have is the skeleton key. And with the skeleton key, it feels like we're invoking something old or ancient or sacred or magical. It's not an ordinary key. It doesn't seem like what it will open would be something kind of plain in a sense. So it feels like in the symbolism of the key opening doors, it feels like it wouldn't just be a normal opportunity, right? It might be that this key is symbolizing having an opportunity to do something you couldn't expect or you didn't expect. Doing something that is out of left field in terms of like not something you've necessarily done before, have an opportunity to do something like that. um, and or like I said, because it wouldn't be kind of like a normal door that you'd open, there may be a significant change on the other side of this month for you. It could also speak to hidden knowledge or hidden opportunities. It looked like hidden knowledge also in the occult sense and gaining information or learning practices. It could look like connecting with your dead or your spiritual team or the ancients within your spiritual team. The key also speaks to protection. So, protecting yourself, protecting your space. Skeleton keys are sometimes used as amulets or in doing working. So, again, it can be used for an amulet for protection or to bring in opportunities. You could do it for workings to open doors or to get specific opportunities. So, things like that is what came up when we got the key and I was writing what I thought about it. The next charm that we have is the other mother from Coraline. So the other mother is a shapeshifter. It's about not being authentic or yourself. It can be about wearing a mask. It can be about moving in self serving ways. And all of these things can be pertaining to you or other people around us this month. My back started to burn when I was writing about this charm. So it felt almost like when somebody tries to, it was my forearm actually, not my back, but it's like almost when somebody tries to grab you from behind or kind of like stop you from leaving, which is essentially what the other mother was trying to do with Coraline. And it could look like literally or figuratively somebody trying to gaslight you or make it seem like you're in the wrong or somebody ghosting you when they're in the wrong, not wanting to take accountability, leaving when they're in the wrong. And again, this could be you or somebody else. The other mother is also the energy of being too perfect or a situation being too perfect, a person being too good to be true, and really investigating that and not just taking it for face value. like I always say to y'all, pay attention to the things that people say and the things that people don't say. The other mother can't create anything, so she just steals children in the movie. Basically, she steals the memories that they have, she recreates them to basically steal them and their life force. And so that's something to be mindful of. People trying to steal things that you're creating, people trying to take credit for your ideas, people um, that you kind of overshare, sharing the things with other people, people being vampiric in terms of your energy. So these are all things to pay attention to. The song that was playing when I was writing this was High Off Me, which again, the vampiric energy, just the title of the song, High Off Me, like, come on, okay? But the lyric that was playing at the time was, yeah, all you do is bring me down, down, down. But you still ride for me. So down. But I know you still get high off me. So down. Yeah, I don't know what you do when I'm gone, but I can't figure out what you want. All you do is bring me down every time you come around. So, again, just being mindful of the people that we're around, being mindful of what we share, paying attention to people's intentions, paying attention to their words, removing these people from our space, not putting ourselves in community with people who are like that. These are all things to do and or pay attention to this month. The last charm that we have for the month is Shark's Tooth. And the shark's tooth was bringing in more of that protection energy, similar to what we talked about with the skeleton key, protecting yourself, protecting your surroundings. It is the energy of strength and power, being dominant this month. Again, the energy of adaptability. Sharks lose their teeth all the time and have like get new teeth. So that's part of it. Similar to what I said with the dolphin, we have the ocean energy, the sea energy, marine life, trips to the ocean, seafood, things like that. And it brings back in the amulet energy and that talisman energy that we had with the skeleton key, because people have used shark's tooth as amulets or talisman for centuries. In African culture, well, in specific African culture and certain tribes, the shark's tooth is hung above the door to protect the house from evil spirits. So this is one of the ways it's used as an amulet. Definitely, move into protecting yourself, protecting your space, utilizing amulets and talismans if that's something that you're drawn to or that's within your practice. Also protecting your ideas. But this is what we have for the charms for the month of July. Let's move into the cards we have for the energy of the month. So the cards we have for the energy of the month every month come from the Tarot of the Divine. Each of the cards in this deck has a fairy tale that's related to the card, and in part 2, we go over the fairy tale I feel like that most relates to our month. We go over the research that I do on the fairy tale, the themes that relate to us, and we'll talk a little bit about the other fairy tales that are in the other cards. So definitely come back for part 2. The cards that we have for the month of July are the Ace of Coins, the King of Cups, the Eight of Coins, and the Five of Coins reverse. So my first thoughts about the cards that we have for the energy of this month was money, 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 money. Okay, it's a feeling like getting into what we have and how we're getting it and how it's going, whether that's literally like how much you have or figuratively like how you feel like it's going. Okay, we have 3 coins out of the 4 cards that we have. So we have the Ace of Coins, the Eight of Coins, and the Five of Coins. So part of the energy of the month is really dealing with material, the tangible, like I said, what we have at hand, what's coming in terms of our material, our finances, and what is going out. One of the cards that we have, the Ace of Coins, is optimistic. The card has a person holding a coin in their hand. There's a vine growing out and around their hand. And so it seems like there's potential. There's potential, but it's very beginning energy because it's an ace. There are things that may be starting to grow for us this month, and or we are just starting to be where we want to be. There also could be the energy of holding on to what you have this month and being mindful of what you have so that you're not left in a spot where you're kind of struggling, or where you are not sure like what happened, like where did money go kind of energy. Another one of the first thoughts that I had looking at the cards was that we may fuck ourselves up this month trying to gain more in some way. This could look like bad investments, or it could look like betting on something that doesn't actually come through the way that it's supposed to. It could look like issues with your pay, when you get paid, how much you were supposed to get paid, actually being compensated for what you were supposed to be. This could also be like expecting, like I said, delays with things that you thought would come in, or having to spend money on things that you didn't necessarily know that you were going to have to spend money on, or, things like that. There's also energy for there to be people who feel like the help or support that you expected or you wanted doesn't come. It may feel like some people feel that they're feeling down and out in some way this month, or that you can't lean on, like I said, who you feel like you're supposed to, or the services you feel like you're supposed to, or something like that. So, another thing that I looked at or thought of when I looked at the cards was that we have basically all minor cards almost, right? We don't have any major cards in terms of major arcana cards. And so we're definitely dealing in terms of energy. It's very focused on our day to day dealings. It's very focused, excuse me, on our personal lives, our individual lives, what's going on with us individually, and not so much like the collective or major themes that we're dealing with. It's more so like what is happening in my everyday life. And the only non-pentacle card that we have is a cup card. And it's funny because even though it's a cup card and the cup suit deals with our emotions and our conscience and things like that, this King of Cups doesn't feel very emotional. Like the card doesn't give off a lot of emotion. And so this was all that was kind of coming up in terms of the things that I saw when I first pulled these cards. So let's go through them more individually. So, starting with the Ace of Coins, like I said before, we have a hand that we can only see the person's hand. They have a coin, a gold coin in their hand. It has a vine that's growing from his hand out into the beyond, and there looks to be like a light shining behind the person's hand. So the energy of the Ace of Coins is new beginnings, where our wealth, material, our finances are concerned. It's new, so it's something that has to be like nurtured and tended to. It's about planting things. It's about, um, like I said, tending and taking care of new things, doing the things that it needs to live and sustain. And how this is related to your material, your finances, your career, how you make money, how you spend money, how you give money, things like that. The idea of it being around our work and our career is definitely doubled down with the Eight of Coins under the Ace of Coins. And so we are definitely working hard through tears, through thorns, to kind of make a way to make something happen, to bring in more, to get something started, to get ourselves off the ground, to change our financial situations, to rebirth something. And this is all coming from those two cards. There's an energy too with the Eight of Coins where um, there it feels like drudgery. It feels like constantly climbing and feeling like you're about to reach the peak or seeing the peak, but never getting there, or constantly climbing and never even seeing the damn peak. Like that's part of the energy, but you want so badly to get to a different place. You want so badly to have things feel and look different for you. So that's part of the reason why you're fighting or, working or trying so hard. Beginning card and the 8 of Coins, the 8 specifically deals with rebirth and transformation. So there's definitely energy this month to have the rebirth or the change or like the beginnings of a new financial, material, wealth, career kind of situation start or begin for you this month. There may be some tears that you go through moving through some things. There may be, like I said before, some drudgery, but there's energy there for change for you this month. The 8 of Coins, like I said, with the ace is um, being in the beginning phases or being, in the middle of something. There's a theme about rushing through to get to the end or feeling frustration, like I said before, that you're not closer to um, something more tangible or closer to the climax of a situation or like the end of something. You know what I mean? There's a lot of feeling of like stagnation or frustration, right? But please don't stop working. Okay. Don't stop working through. Like it's definitely, there's a precipice kind of feeling. You don't see it. Okay. You kind of just feel like this shit is for naught, but what you're working for is right behind you. Like, for example, in the 8 of Coins, the story that's related to this card, I can't remember exactly the name of the story, but the girl is basically, she's having to weave these things to turn her brothers back into people. And so part of the reminder of what she's working for is literally behind her. And that's part of what keeps her going, despite the thorns, despite the blood, despite the hardship and the tears that she's fighting through to do the work that she has to do. The love and want for her brothers to be whole again is part of why she doesn't stop. And so that is very like pertinent to our stories this month as well, in terms of why we're doing what we're doing and why we need to continue to do things the way that we're doing, or work as hard as you are, or moving in the way that you're trying to change your situation. And even though it seems like it's not changing, it is. In the moments when you're not sure how you're going to finish something or how you're going to make it through or how you're going to make it to the end or the finish line, remind yourself how much sweeter it's going to feel when you do. Remind yourself what you're actually doing it for, what your goal is, what your reasoning is, what you're wanting to get out of it. This is part of what will help you in those moments when you really feel like this shit is going to take me out. Because there is a heavy feeling, like I said before, of like adulting sucks. This shit is going to take me out. I don't know if I can do this. Everything feels really heavy. Like that's a theme, okay? That is definitely a theme. So, part of how we can start something more lucrative and expand our income or what we're already doing is by inquiring or investing in our own skills or profession, right? We have the 8 of Coins and she's working, they're toiling away. There are multiple coins beside them. So they've done a lot. And it made me think of being able to do more with your hands, or having more skills, or being able to like work more efficiently. There's value in learning and continuing to learn, even if you're like, I know my profession. There's always value in staying current in the market. There's always, or excuse me, staying current in the industry, not the market, excuse me. There's always value in learning new skills. There's always value in expanding your knowledge and things. And I feel like that is a part of the energy that we have this month, in terms of, okay, so I'm not getting what I want, or I'm not being compensated the way I feel like I should be, or the money isn't moving, the way I need it to. So adding in a skill, or, looking into a different skill, or something that you can add to your professional certificate, is something that definitely can help some people with, you know, bringing in more income, as well as investing, is possible to help people bring in more income. But again, it's risky, like I talked about in the Ace of Coins. So be mindful of what you're investing in. Be mindful of that, like that money. Don't use money that you can't afford to lose. When you put the money out, assume that you're going to get it back, but know that if you lose it, you're going to be okay. And know that before you fucking put the bitch in there. Okay. But like these are some things to think about this month. It's also partially about reworking how we work from a day to day. Like I said, it's about working as efficiently as we can. And so there is something to like being mindful of your processes and or your habits around, you know, everything kind of, and kind of reevaluating that. Am I working the smartest way? Am I moving the smartest way? Am I spending the smartest way? Am I, you know, insert X thing that you do? Am I doing that as efficiently as um you know, smartly as I want to do it? Or are there better ways for me to kind of look at this or to change this or to, you know, rework this? And like I said, we are talking about our finances and our career and our money, but it's also just the energy of that in general, because the different habits that you hold or the different ways in which you move affect the other ways that you move. So, you know, by reworking and changing one thing, you essentially can um, have a positive outcome on something else. The last thing that I was thinking about the Eight of Coins is that there's also energy for people to be like whittling away or working hard on something that you're passionate about. That could be related to your career and things, or it could be like a side project. It could be one of the new skills that you've attained or that you're working on that you're starting to like put, you know, more time into. It could be something that you put money into to learn. It could be something that you're passionate about that you used to do that you're getting back to this month. But I can see people also kind of just like in their own little bubbles doing their own thing, and utilizing their knowledge, their new skills, you know, whatever it was that like they're really liking to do. So moving on to the cards on the other side, the King of Cups and the Four of Coins reverse. It feels like with these cards, part of the energy of this month is about finding our footing. It's about moving away from the hardships, whether that's the literal hardships that we've been through, the past hardships that we've been through that may be coming up for us, whether that's about moving away from the feelings of feeling alone and helpless, or, you know, feeling overwhelmed, or the things that we talked about earlier in the podcast. And it's really about, like I said, your standing on your own too, being able to invest in yourself, being able to invest in your spiritual development and in your mind and in the balance and the ease that you want to feel, right? It's about not allowing money to really rule you and rule how you think or dictate how you feel about yourself or how you feel about your life. In the story of the Four of Coins, there girl is basically she has no help, and in the story she's outside of a shop, and I believe that she could have gone in and asked for help, but she, number one, didn't want to go home because she was dealing with abusive family. And so instead of you know, going anywhere to any of the shops or asking any passersby for help, she kind of just huddles in her little corner and she tries to sell the rest of her matches, and decides instead to use the matches to warm herself. And as a result, she passes away. Like I said, we will get into some of these stories in part two. We talk about the fairy tales in part 2. We read the stories. I give the research for one of the stories I feel is like most relates. We may have more than one story for this month because it seems like there are a couple of stories with themes that we could go through. So definitely come back for part 2. But she, like I said, passes away. And before she passes away, she's hearing the voice of her grandmother who is calling her and basically telling her to come with her so that she can give her support, right? And so if you look at the 5 of coins reversed as we have it, and you look deeper into it, it looks like the window could be a church. And so in the reverse of it, it almost looks like the little girl is being absorbed into the church. And in this sense, because she passed, she was absorbed or, like pushed down, because it would be like she was falling because it's reversed. So she'd fall almost into heaven, where she gets the ultimate help and support that she didn't receive in life. And so it feels like on the other side of the cards we have for part 1, there's a way in which we can stand on our own 2 feet and receive the support or see the growth or have the expansion, right, that we couldn't necessarily see before, or we didn't necessarily envision that we could have, or that we couldn't have had we not been in the places that we are going to. And like I said before, that the King of Cups from the 5 of coins looks like part of the ultimate help or support that we're receiving comes from ourselves. So the King of Cups is about maturity. It's about having wisdom and patience, as well as being able to protect yourself and protect those around you. It's about being able to go through the experiences that kind of form you to who you are, and recognizing how they've shaped you, and also the wisdom that you've acquired from them. The story that's related to the King of Cups is about a boy who becomes um, a new version of himself, basically. And in the new version of himself, he's able to take care of his family and the people in his village. And part of that is because he is willing to be mature, and part of it is because he's willing to utilize his skills and find new skills. He's willing to keep going in spaces where it looks like, he's not going to get what he thought he was going to get, or that things weren't going to work out the way he necessarily wanted them to. But he continues to move forward and find solutions and is able to find answers. And most of this he does on his own, whether it's like what he's able to do for himself, what he's able to do for his family and his community. It's very much him. It's not like he's doing it with other people. He doesn't have a whole team behind him. It's just him, basically, like I said, growing and maturing throughout the adventures and the battles that he kind of fights. And at the end of it, um, well, I don't want to give the story away all the way, but like at the end of it, like I said, he's able to help everyone, including himself, and really sit in this new part of himself, right? So that he's able to take care of his mother and do things in ways that he wasn't able to do before, and he wouldn't be able to had he not gone through what he had to bring him to this new place. So to me, it encompasses a lot of what we just talked about with all of these cards in this one card, right? And it's our ability to, put all of those things together and be able to reevaluate and follow through and persevere and know why we're doing things, and remind ourselves, and kind of like stick to our goals in certain aspects, as well as being able to like know when to use certain emotions, because we have a King of Cups. So there's a maturity in knowing when I need that, fiery energy, that, passionate energy, and when um being called to be more level-headed, or there's a different approach needed, just like how you're evaluating your plans or your habits, and like the ways in which you interact day to day. That also includes the ways you emote day to day, the ways in which you react to things, or how you talk to and deal with people, and um, how that reflects into the other things that you do. Like I was saying before, the energy of the King of Cups is about being able to handle shit regardless of what life throws at you. So, regardless of what life throws at you this month, if you move with a level of maturity, and if you move with as much of a clear headed and stable, like stabilized emotions as you can, you'll be able to make it through the things that are thrown at you this month. You'll be able to rise above the shit that feels like it's trying to take you down, and you'll be able to see the other better side, of things. So definitely maintain this month. Definitely remember that, and come back to this part of the podcast if you need it specifically to remind you, like you are not what's happening to you. This shit is not going to keep happening forever, and you are being moved, and there is a transformation that's happening, even if you can't see it. You just have to remind yourself what we're doing this for, what we know or hope that the outcome is going to be, and move in kind. Okay, so this is what we have for the energy of July. And we went through our charms, we've gone through our energy cards. So I'm going to wrap it up here. We're at about 45 minutes. And part 2, which will be out in a couple of days, we will go over our mini focuses. So we'll get into specifically what we're focused on in our career and our finances this month, what we're focused on in our love and spirituality, and what we're focused on in our self-growth and our spirituality. Oh, I said love and spirituality, I'm sorry. In our love and relationships, and then our self-growth and spirituality. So we'll get into all of those mini focuses. We will talk, like I said, about the fairy tale that relates most to our month. We'll talk about the research. We may read more than one story. We'll talk about how the themes of the story relate to us and what we have going on. We'll talk about the best working for the month. And yeah, that's what we have coming up in part 2. So definitely come back for that. Share this episode with somebody who needs it. Follow the podcast if you're not already following. If you'd like your own personal reading, I am having a sale, like I said before. Book with me at wildheartbotanica.com. My 75-minute live reading is on sale. So if you put it in your cart, you will see the savings. It's 40% off. And follow on YouTube, because like I said, we have a number of readings. I do a weekly reading. We have our retrograde reading out right now. There will be more readings throughout this month. So definitely follow there. Check that out. Thank you again for being here with me. I appreciate y'all so, so much. I will see you in part 2.